it was perfect. It was like a perfect day. It was a light breeze, and we had amazing food, great aromas, great atmosphere, great music.
Oh yeah, I forgot
People
about
just
that.
really enjoying the pool party for that event that he was throwing for the Cortland community.
Hmm.
And through that, uh, I saw a connection there. I said, "Hey, this guy, there's something about him. We really have a lot in common, you
Yeah.
know." And we just started talking just to talk.
Like I'm telling you, it's been 3 hours. I'm exhausted now. You know, we're still going to continue, but I'm,
Yeah.
I'm venting on the show because a lot of people do not know what it takes to really get to that level of success that they want to achieve. And a lot of times it has to do with working out the kinks, trying to figure out the right plugs
Mm-hmm.
and the right people to make it all happen. So we're going to mark it right here. Cut or action. Action. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Talking Just to Talk with King Ferdinand. You are at the house and welcome back. The show is about the art of conversation, and I always kick it off and say curiosity, creativity, and collaboration is the secret sauce. It's our recipe to success. So today I have in the studio at my own house, once again, I have Victor OG Tigerman, and we're going to just talk, literally get things off of our chest, do a quick intro, and then I don't know where the conversation is going to take us today, but I think that's really the charm of the show itself.
We're just gonna have to let it go with the flow, you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
So introduce yourself to the animal kingdom officially, because this is the first piece of content that we've done together where you and I are on camera together.
Without
And
anybody
so,
else. Yeah.
it's just you and I for the first time. So, what's your role in the show? How do we met? How do we meet? Who are you? All of that good stuff.
Oh, that's a wonderful story.
Yeah.
So literally through event planning, events, things that are happening in our community here locally in Dallas. And well, let me start off with my name. My name is Rick Lazardi, and yes, I am the executive producer of Talking Just to Talk with King Ferdinand, and I'm also the editor for Talking Just to Talk with King Ferdinand. And we met one wonderful sunny day in the summer. It was perfect. It was like a perfect day. It was a light breeze, and we had amazing food, great aromas, great atmosphere, great music.
Oh yeah.
People just really enjoying the pool party for that event that he was throwing for the Cortland community.
Mm-hmm.
And through that, I saw a connection there. I said, "Hey, this guy, there's something about him. We really have a lot in common."
Yeah.
And we just started talking just to talk.
Literally.
Literally.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I'm over here with my fiance and my daughter, and we're swimming and enjoying the food and the creative moments with the music, the vibes, people dancing, and just enjoying the atmosphere. And really, that's its charm, is creating an atmosphere where people can connect and just be a community.
Mm-hmm.
And so we brought that situation into present day with Talking Just to Talk, and that's still a big part of the platform, is connecting community and connecting creativity. So we have been working behind the scenes, collabing. I have been traveling to events, and I just came back from VidSummit, which is an event co-owned by the one and the only Jimmy, Mr. Beast. You guys probably know him as Mr. Beast. And there were just so many content creators there and so much information that was shared that we wanted to bring that here to this podcast, what we learned.
Mm-hmm. You were on a mission.
I was on a mission. Yeah. I mean, I was gonna do a lot of this stuff, but one of the things that I learned too at this event, and even before the event, it was my mentality already, is like, we can accomplish so much more together than trying to do these things by ourselves.
Yeah.
And we already had established that communication as to, this is what we're both in the same aspect. We're both trying to build something from the ground up, build legacy, build community, build connections, build just our networking portfolio.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so the best thing to do is go where these events were. And literally, I was the whole event. I'm on the phone with this guy. I'm like, hey, so we're gonna make this happen. When we get out of here, we're gonna be going to. There's an after party going on, and you're gonna show up there. So he was like, I'm dropping whatever I'm doing. I'll be right there.
Yeah, he said, put your crown on and hurry up and get over here. And
yes.
I'm glad I did, because we met some very unique characters that's going to be reoccurring guests on the show.
Yeah.
And so we were actually supposed to create some content with the official Detox music today, but that'll come soon enough. But I actually realized today is a great opportunity for us to capture the essence of what the show Talking Just to Talk About is about. And I think that could actually be the next piece of content, because we're talking about how we met. And then we're talking about what the show is about and showing examples through that episode before we even go into anything else, because it's going to share with the audience what this is all about. And I think that a lot of people, they need clarity. I could keep it as simple as possible and say it's about the art of conversation, curiosity, creativity, collaboration, but that's still sometimes not clear enough for a lot of people. So I'm a visual person, and so tangible examples works for me. And so the collaborations that we have, I told you about the brand, the House of King Ferdinand. We'll be plugging in some pictures and videos of some of the pieces that Easy Babies designed on behalf of the House of King Ferdinand. We'll show you some content about the events that we're doing here at the Cortland, that I'm the host, and I'm attracting all of these very talented people to work together to create an experience. And the mission of King Ferdinand is to connect people, like Victor said, to connect people, discover talent, and then collaborate with these artists around the world. This is a huge deal. And I'm ready for everybody to stop playing with me.
Yeah, so we're pretty much underground right now.
Yeah, boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground. And like you said, we have not only official Detox music, but even the gentleman we met at
Teddy Deck.
Yeah. And he's amazing. And so we're going to be bringing him on the show as well. We've already got some content shot and recorded while I was taking my entry exam to go to film school. So like we went to film school, like we're bringing the cameras, we're recording, there's content everywhere, So we're going to put this story together and bring you guys along the journey with us. And you're going to see the creative process, how to navigate the creative roadblocks, how to get through these slumps, because everybody goes through slumps. It's just a part of the creative process, and how we navigate through that. How did your passion, for this all start actually?
It originated, my first job, and I say this a few different times on pieces of content that's out there. My first job was connecting with people and using my voice to engage and connect. And I didn't realize it was happening along the way with every single job that I've had. You hear that?
Hold on to that thought.
All right. With every single job that I've had, from being a cashier at a grocery store, making announcements over the loudspeaker, every single job opportunity, my voice getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So really, it was the universe telling me what my destiny looks like. And in 2019, I created a vision board. I don't know if anyone has ever done that before, but I highly recommend it.
That's such a great creative process right there.
Yes.
Just making thoughts become things.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I created a vision board back in 2019. And on that vision board, that picture of that podcast is right there. You see it in the top middle.
So we're going to actually this is where we're going to fade out for just a second.
Yeah.
And this is where my job comes into play. And it's to bring you guys into the story and the creative process. So when you see this fully brought out podcast, fully realized, this is what it looks like.
I love it.
Love it.
But yeah, that picture right there, it looks very similar to the radio station that I went to, Fishbowl Radio Studios.
The Mix.
In the Mix show in Dallas. The studio looked very much like that. It's like a boardroom, long table in the middle, some chairs, microphones, headset, very simple. That's the picture that I put on my vision board. And so it really is honoring the goal that I set 2019. And I'm a very goal-oriented person. And I commit, if I set a goal, I'm going to do everything I need to do to achieve that goal. So that's where the motivation comes from.
That's beautiful. And so going back to Eddie Deck, was Teddy Deck.
Yeah.
Teddy Deck. I haven't had a chance to really speak with him, only when he walked in behind us into that sound room, because I was checking everything out, checking out the soundboards and everything, because that's a big part of what we're doing here. And the reason for me going back to film school, even though I know a lot of people say, you don't need that, you don't need that, you don't need that. See, we're more of a documentary style of show. So we're going to be very heavily involved in the cinematography part of things.
Yes.
Compared to some of the other shows where they're just talking about a topic and going back and forth. So we want to take you guys on a journey that it begins in the podcast. And then we might go back into the past, or maybe we'll show you something that could be the potential future.
Yes.
So we're going to take, it's going to be like a time machine kind of ride because
because like you said, a podcast, it's usually two people or a few different people talking just to talk. But the documentary idea came about because there's a lot of things that I want to accomplish and a lot of people around me that's creative. And so this is a show and tell kind of a show. Yeah. So that's where the word documentary came from. We want to show you and tell you what's going on.
Such a beautiful thing too. Yeah. It's a great concept. And I mean, that's when we started talking about the concept and everything, I was like, yeah, that's very much along the lines of now.showing, you know? Yeah. So a little bit behind that is there's a TikTok channel that has been being held that is now.showing. We talked about that. We already got that to 1,000 views. And so we might be recording this, seeing what's going on right now. We're not doing it today, but we might be recording, like streaming it live and letting only those that have actually subscribed to the channel to actually be able to gain access to that content, to actually comment. They can still watch it, but to comment is going to be for our subscribers. So that's where we'll be able to go in and talk to people. And so we're getting all this going until we get that account up to 1,000, which is at King Ferdinand 13 on TikTok. Oh yeah. So we want to make sure you guys subscribe to that. Because we got what, 500 and something, almost 600 subscribers. Like we're getting there. My personal account has like 12,000. The other one has 1,000. Like I have a couple accounts that do gaming as well as what we're doing, what we're seeing here. And so we're putting all of our talents together. He's going to be gaming too. We've talked about this. So when there's
I want to get back to all of that stuff. It's like, life can get not in the way, but you get so serious as an adult. And that's the reason why the show is so casually placed, talking just to talk. It's like, let's get back to who we really are and the things we really enjoy doing.
And that playfulness and that joy. And so, and that's what's really great and unique about the show is because we try to lay off the hard topics. We still touch base on them, but we try to bring out the light in these situations.
Yes.
And what is the positive outcome here? And we try to do it quickly. We don't try like to keep you lingering in the pain points. We discuss those things, but we try to navigate into those things. Now on the Raw podcast, you might be able to hear some of those things in the raw format. But when we go into the documentary side of things, we take you there through a journey. We bring in the right music, the right sound effects, everything to really just connect you with what's going on in that moment and bring that story to life. So whether you're watching it visually or just listening to it, we can help bring the audience into that emotion that is in that moment and then bring you back.
Storytelling at its
best. Yeah.
Yes.
That's going to be great.
Yeah. So I initially asked you, how do we meet? How do we connect? And you mentioned that it was at a pool party in the summer. I want to ask you, when was it that you realized that this was a show, or this was a brand, this was a product, this is a person that you want to collaborate with? When was that moment? When was that light bulb moment for you?
So I had already put it out there into the universe that I was going to build my team. I have been streaming by myself for several years, since 2017, and there's been ups and there's been downs, and I couldn't find the right people. I need people with positive energy. That's what this guy is. He is nothing but positive energy. He's Mr. Positivity. And
until I get annoyed and aggravated, and then
he's like, there's no time for that. Stop it. This is not the energy that I want. This is what we're doing now. Which is great. But what I was doing at that moment was bringing it into existence of these are the things that I want to see happening. This is what's going to happen. And then I saw you and I was like, this is falling very much in line. The as you like to put it, what is it? That cohesion,
synchronicity.
Synchronicity. That's the word. It was the synchronicity of the moment, and I was like, okay, all right.
It was that easy, right?
Yeah.
And that's honestly how I live my life. I pay very close attention to what people are saying, what people are about, and what people are not saying. because a lot of times they could be telling you one thing, but the audio and the video is not matching. So if I'm seeing something, but you're not saying something, then I make a decision from there. But if everything is aligned and it's consistent based off of my goals and my mission, and it's aligned with yours, then I'm ready to do some work. And it's usually that simple.
Yeah.
So,
and that's how we've been able to attract so many talented people onto the podcast too. We've both have been able to go out there and network at different events. I've got an event this weekend on Sunday, which is a circus event, and I'm going to go to this gala. And with that in mind, there's even a filmmaker that's already over there. Or he's like a filmmaker attorney or something like that. And like, there's just a bunch of moving parts over there because this is a fundraiser for a charitable event, but I'm networking.
I already know I'm going to get a phone call. I already know you're going to call me and say, bro, look, I just met X, Y, and Z, 1, 2, 3, and I love that.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly in the mode, and I'm always in the mode too. And so I find it very difficult to talk with people who aren't really in that mindset of entrepreneurship, because the opportunities can show up like that in the moment. Yeah, and you have to be on and ready and paying attention. So I'm excited where you're going to come back home to the house of King Ferdinand Witt from that Sunday event.
Yeah. And I also, from not just looking at synchronicity and all that, but I take everything that I have learned throughout my entire life, and what I do is I look at it from a scriptural standpoint and a physical standpoint. In the now, right now, using these kingdom principles, how does this align with what I feel that God wants in my life in the moment, right? So God, the universe, higher being, whatever you want to call it, is this in alignment with what kingdom principles are, right? And so as I look deeper into those things, other little aha moments start to happen.
Yeah.
And I start to see other things being revealed to me, and I start to see, okay, all right. And then people will show you their true colors too.
1000%.
And when you see those moments, it's time to cut some people out, because those are the weeds that you're not going to harvest with the crop.
Yeah.
So, but you wait, you let them grow with the crop, and then there's the moment when you're going to pull the crop up. You got to take those weeds out, because you don't want to destroy the crop. But here's what I mean by that.
You let it happen.
You let it happen. So there's seasons in our lives where the harvest it needs to be harvested. So I reached that pivotal point in my life where all the pieces were moving together in synchronicity to make things happen. I went to VidSummit. I met you in the pool.
Yeah.
We did the game night together.
Yeah.
And that was a big success. We also did your birthday. We did the gala, the disco gala.
The Crown Royal Disco Ball.
Crown Royal Disco Ball. And that was a massive success. Everybody's still talking about it to this day. And the events are getting bigger and bigger, and we're going to need a bigger space. Because we
are outgrowing what's going on.
We really are. And it's happening in a very dynamic way.
Yes.
Because we're seeing, even our equipment, just last week we had less equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah. All these things are coming up. And then I had this soundboard for 2 years.
And this is the first time you're using it on the show, talking
this
just to
is
talk with
literally
King
the first
Ferdinand.
time that I'm using it. I bought it to start the Now That Showing podcast. And I was going to do that with Becca. And she'll come on the show at some point, because she's a producer on a Christian network, on a Christian podcast. And so she's out of a church, but they talk about everything too. And that's going to be an amazing person to bring on board too, to talk to and just share about that knowledge. We also met some folks that are other podcasters, and they have already existing things going on in their networks. There's a movie for Bradman. And so we got Bradman that we were talking to, and we're going to see how that plays out. We're going to have a conversation with him, because he's actually asked me recently, hey, when do you want me to come on your show and talk here? The guy who professionally breaks up for people with people.
Oh, that guy. You told me about him.
Yeah, he's got a whole podcast about, you go into his channel and you request, hey, this is the situation. I need to break up with this person. And he will break up with that person for you, so you don't have to. And so
this is humor. This is supposed to be comedy.
It's comedy and reality and all kinds of things, and just how people react and all these things. And just, there's a lot of stuff going on, but he's got a lot of moving pieces as well.
Okay.
And there's even a movie about him and stuff like that he's working on right now as well. So there's all kinds of stuff. He actually was really big, went into retirement, and now with YouTube being the thing, he has come out of retirement. He was on public access for a while. And so that's an education right there too. That's a master class right there too. When we get him on the show to talk about that too.
Yeah.
Talking just to talk.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of things going on, and not everything has to be in one studio. We're trying to partner up right now with StreamYard if we can make that happen. StreamYard, you watch all this content, so
quack,
we got your duck right there.
Right here,
That's always a shout out to you guys. We got puddles right over here.
Yeah. I'm willing to do it for free right now, only because it's in the background, but Talking Just to Talk with King Ferdinand is open to sponsorships, baby.
Yeah, we can definitely put you guys in like little segments of commercials in here. So affiliate codes and all that kind of good stuff. And then we're going to we're also looking at the equipment that we're using and doing a podcast where we're teaching people what it is that we use, how we set this equipment up, and do some tutorials on there too. And those will be just bonus content. Because part of what we're doing with this show is the documentary aspect where, you know how you get the bonus features on a DVD?
Mm-hmm.
Well, get ready because it's coming to podcast.
It's wrapped into the show, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, it's wrapped into the
because we spent, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours today before even like actually kicking off the show and creating this content right now that you're looking at. We have so many hours of content that's behind the scenes where it's like, okay, how do you do this? How do you do that? Oh, this is unplugged. The lighting is off.
How
the
can
sound
we make it
check.
better?
Yeah. And I want that to be a part of actually this next episode. I feel like that's it.
Well, then that's where we're going with it.
I love this because the universe always shows me exactly what to do next. Because the first one we did, Miami Steve, we gave him a shout out. Shout out once again, Miami Steve, a filmmaker that's very talented. He is living in Miami, but he travels all around the world. I think he's in Colombia right now making another film.
Yeah, he's is it a cooking show he's on right now?
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually great because we'll be able to talk about that too if he's able to disclose anything, or maybe we record it and then we have to wait till that episode airs in order to have that exclusive because we're getting exclusives with him as well. So that's really great.
Wanted to just give him a shout out. It's on Instagram. I am Miami Steve. And so the first episode of Talking Just to Talk with King Ferdinand came out on October 13th, and it is officially on YouTube. So if you haven't checked it out, please go on YouTube and search at King Ferdinand, all one word. Very easy to find. Talking Just to Talk with King Ferdinand, first episode, October 13. Yes. Yeah.
Also, that number 2 is important. Make sure you put Talking Just to Talk, and you should see a crown as the logo for the picture on the channel as well. So make sure you guys subscribe. And we also have the website.
Yes, www.kingferdinand.love, not .com, .love. That's all intentional because most people don't know. You could actually put your domain and it could be really anything you want. Mm-hmm. And usually .com is the most expensive way to go because it's so common.
And it's usually taken. So people actually start selling domains for thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. You know,
they tried to get me, kingferdinand.com. They tried to get me for like $2,500. And I was like,
no, thank you.
I was way ahead. I'm always ahead. Like I told you in the car on the way here, I'm always like 10 steps ahead of myself. So I'm thinking about what it's going to take 5-10 years down the road to protect the brand and own the rights and all of those things. So I was doing research.
By the way, today, buy the .bio domain. That just came out.
.bio?
That just came out. So if you haven't heard about it, you hear about it now. .bio is now a thing. You can now buy a .bio domain name. I'm actually picking up mine today as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know, the website kingferdinand.love is basically the domain, the word for house, where you can actually find a lot of the pictures from the collaborations with Easy Baby, a lot of the great photography work from Adrian Lopez Photography, and then of course products collaborated with Giovanni. He is the one that's creating all of the graphic design work. The Animal Kingdom comes to life, and it's on kingferdinand.love. So really excited. Check that out. You can even become part of the Animal Kingdom community to collaborate with us in the future as well.
Absolutely. You can submit your resume to us, videos, anything you got. We want to see it. So make sure you guys go to the website and submit that so that we can bring you on the show as well. Especially if you're upcoming artist, even if you're already an existing artist, we prefer to work with people that are just grassroots starting up.
Yeah.
And because they're going to be more readily available, but we work with everybody. from the big screen, as you can see with Miami Steve, and all the way back to people just starting off, because we ourselves are on that grassroots level now. This is the beginning of our journey in that story. One of the other things too is we are working on a cookbook as well. So we're working on food and all that other stuff. And tell us more about the culinary arts section about our brand.
So shout out to my girl, Crystal Sherman, my culinary artist. I call her the culinary artist because my event, I started off and it was all focused around art. And then my perspective started to open up and say, okay, I see artistry in every single aspect of life, including cooking. Yeah. It takes talent and artistry to prepare a meal with love. And that's what she does every single time we throw these events. She started with me in January of 2023. And every single event, she's been here to cater the experience. And we provide a taste of New Orleans for all the guests to experience. And that means every single aspect of New Orleans we can showcase and we can present that to you on the menu. So the gumbo, the jambalaya, the etouffee, everything else in between, even dessert. I remember in February or March, I think that they actually brought king cake from New Orleans in the packages from one of our favorite bakeries. But
that is good.
I mean, yeah, a taste of New Orleans. I love to call it that because it gives the opportunity to evolve the menu and change it up over time based on the season. So right now, gumbo, right?
That's a great thing for this time of year.
Yeah, Crystal's asking me now.
I eat me up some gumbo all day. You just put the plate in front of me, and that's part of why this is here.
And you know what? Crystal looks forward to coming here and getting me fat because I'm always so busy and I'm all over the place. Just like, I want you to sit down. I want you to eat.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, my queen. Yes. Yeah. But, a taste of New Orleans. And that's just, we started it in January. That's the menu. But now we're talking about even doing a food truck and also doing a cookbook, like Victor said. And so we're going to turn this into a product and bring a taste of New Orleans everywhere we go.
Yeah. And right now we're actually doing, we have her going out and doing events and just doing the food for these events as a, what do you call that when somebody's, oh my gosh, what's the word here I'm looking for?
I mean, she is building a muscle and she's starting it, she's offering the what her recipe is. And we're even, like he said, going to create a cookbook and a seasoning for her as well. But basically sampling whatever it is that she's able to do, and everyone falls in love with it. In fact, that's usually the more consistent theme. Every time I get feedback from anyone who's joined us at an event, they always say, King Ferdinand, the food. Where can I get some more of that delicious food?
Catering. That's the word I'm looking for.
Catering experience.
Thank you, ChatGPT, because I couldn't figure out what the word was. And I was like, ChatGPT, what is the word for when you cook for people at an event?
You could have said that. Remember, it's on Talking Just to Talk.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember the word right now. I need an energy drink. But
I got a little bit in here.
Is that Celsius right there?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Little Celsius right here.
But yeah, that's a big part of it. And I think this will be a great segue to even adding some content to tease, who she is. And also, my hometown, New Orleans, Louisiana. And I told you this before, but she has a son. I saw the video footage. That was great. Yeah, his name is Princeton. They call him Two-Step Sherman. Huge, deal in New Orleans. Really, I think across the entire state of Louisiana, to be honest. But, when we make content with her and she have an exclusive episode in the series, The House of King Ferdinand, and on the show Talking Just to Talk, it'll be a taste of New Orleans. So what she provides to everyone wherever she goes and these events that she's helping me throw, but also blowing a kiss and tipping our hats to the one and only very unique talent. His name is Princeton Sherman, Two-Step Sherman. He is going to be a talent like no other. And he's also a part of the animal kingdom, the talent community here.
He is. Yeah. He's a part of the House of King Ferdinand as well.
Yeah.
So if you're from New Orleans, you've probably already seen him all over the streets because we got a whole entire band that follows behind this kid. And what he does is amazing. He's been on the news, been all over media for a while now as well. This is all part of that, collaboration part in the creativity process. And speaking about that, I've got some questions that I want to ask you.
Yeah, I'm glad.
So they're right here. Can you describe a time when you took a significant creative risk and what you learned from it?
A significant creative risk. Let's just go with this and the brand. I got two answers for you.
Let's go.
So at first, I was calling it King Ferdinand. And that was a big risk right there. I'll just start with the name. I'm a storyteller, by the way. I always like to tell the story and where things originated from. So I hated my name when I was coming up. I hated it. And I actually, my mom, she named me Ferdinand. And I remembered every time I would introduce myself to people, they would always be like, they would never pronounce it correctly. And that annoyed the hell out of me. But
self-love, baby. Self-love.
Then I had to swing it back around after a while. I think I was 13, 14, something like that. But I think even when I became legal to work, I still was putting George on my name tag. So I think I still was kind of like going with my last name because it was more common and easier for people to pronounce. I think around 16, 17. So full circle moment, I started to go to therapy in 2019. That is when I started to really do some self-reflection and really look at me and realize that I'm the product. And that's a risk. That's uncomfortable. When you start to focus the camera on you, when you start to turn the microphone up on yourself, that is a risk.
Yes, it is.
It makes you feel awkward, uncomfortable. What do you have to offer? What is your value? You start asking yourself all these questions. And so I'd say 2019, that was a big risk to say, okay, you are the product. Why are you looking elsewhere and figuring out, you think you have to learn all these skills and all these things? Yes, learn along the way, because that's what life is about. But when you realize you're the product and you start looking at yourself as that, then you start treating yourself better. You have a higher self-esteem. And yes, you start to become more confident in self.
Absolutely. So, and that's the thing too that I've been learning through my journey is that when you're going through that creative process, and like, let's say you're live streaming, a lot of time when you're live streaming, you don't realize that you are a brand.
Yeah.
The moment you turn that camera on, you have just became a brand.
Yes.
The moment that camera's on recording and you're putting it out there for people to consume that content, you are now a brand.
Yes.
You may not be a fully realized brand yet, but this is where these things begin and this is where these things expand.
Yeah.
And so, right now we're building that circle. We're finding out who's who we can connect with, who we vibe with, because if we got to get along, if we got a good vibe and we can go out there and hang out and party end of the day and have a good time, just to talk, even if it's on camera or off camera, then we know it's a good fit, And so just seeing all that and then learning how to become that brand, and then what steps do you take moving forward to expand that brand? And so we're going through that journey right now and learning and expanding on that knowledge base. And here we go.
Yeah, the battery's going dead.
Oh, no.
So, we've been recording.
We're still good over here.
You were still good over there, yeah.
Yeah.
We've been recording for longer than 30 minutes. I think there's something about this thing that shuts off after 30 minutes, but that's okay.
So, what we can probably do is that's probably shooting in like 4K or something. If we lower down the pixels that it's recording in, that should extend the battery life.
It could.
And then another thing we can do too is once we have it positioned, turn off the display camera. This part here.
Well, we could just plug it up. That's really the solve.
Oh, that solves everything.
Like, if I want to be able to see that,
if we're able to keep it plugged in, then great.
Yeah. So we'll figure that out.
So we're figuring it out as we go, as you can see. But the main thing that we were trying to figure out was video and audio, because right after VidSummit we had.
Hold on, did we finish our thought before?
Oh, did we? I don't know.
You asked me a question, and I answered that question. You said taking a risk.
Yeah.
Right. And I answered that question, and then you were piggybacking off of the type of people we would have on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to vibe with us. They have to be easy to get along with, easy to connect. Because the moment I feel like you're not resonating or understanding what's going on here, then I will pivot.
Yeah.
I will pivot. When I met you, it was as simple as, hey man, I got some DJ equipment if you ever wanted to, play together, and I could take over the music for the next time. And I said, oh, cool. And I looked at my sister, she looked at me. Because she knows.
Because he was doing a lot of stuff that day. Like
I'm always trying to do too much.
He was the host. He was the DJ. He was checking the food was right.
I was.
He was checking if there was enough drinks.
Yeah.
He was sending people go do runs to go get more alcohol.
Literally, I was going to the door, let people in.
Let people in. Meeting with people at the door and say, "Hey, this is the way. You need to make this left."
Yeah, seriously.
He was just making sure and let me tell you, it worked out. The party was great, but again, these were the beginning growing pains of building a brand, creating a community of people who understand what the brand is and want to connect with the brand, that can be continually showing up to the events and things that we do because they understand and they enjoy spending time with us.
Yeah.
So literally everything that has to do with this show has to do with love. Like, it starts with love, and that's what this is right here. And so the King of Hearts, that's him.
That's it.
So tell us a little bit more about that, actually.
Yeah, so I will tell you, there's an acronym. Every organization, every company has core values, and the acronym for the House of King Ferdinand, it's CROWN: courageous, rambunctious, one of a kind, world class, noteworthiness. So everything we do, we have to be bold and courageous. That's the risk taking that you were just asking about. And that's the King of Hearts. The King of Hearts is bold and courageous, willing to take a risk. Confidence is key. And that's how you can lead, a very happy and successful life. You have to emulate the behaviors of what you want to receive back. So the King of Hearts is all about that. The raw and rambunctious king, that's the King of Diamonds. That's the transformative king. That's the one who's going to learn the skills. That's the one who's going to try different things. That's the one who's going to work out at the gym, right? Yeah. And these are all aspects of my personality. And I think all of the best ingredients, I think, for a fully realized human being, for personal philosophy. So right in the middle of it all, I always say the big joker. And this is the reason why the microphone is red, because I have to remind myself to loosen up, have a good time with all of this, because this can be very stressful.
It can, especially we have like tech issues and things like that.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And, we talked about this on camera, off camera. Mm-hmm. You and I balance each other, even though my anxiety might trigger. Mm-hmm. But the fact that you are way more playful than I am, and you remind me of that.
Sometimes.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
A lot of times I'm doing research.
It's funny because we balance each other. Yeah. It's crazy because like when you're intense, I'm like, oh, I can't be intense.
He can chill at that point.
I got to go sit down.
He's got to, yeah. And then we just like reverse roles.
It's true. We've never talked about this out loud.
That's how, again, true. Synchronicity happens a lot in that aspect
too. Because when you see that I'm on edge, mm-hmm. I'm like, Victor, we got like, what's going on here? Yeah. And then you realize, oh no, I don't even know if you think about it, but it's organic. It's automatic. And so the big joker, once again, is just to remind me and everyone in the audience who's listening, life can be very playful. You should really just not take it too serious. Once you ease off the gas and just observe everything, you realize the humor in everything, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
So that's an aspect of the brand. So that's one of a kind, the big joker, King Ferdinand.
Say that again one more time. Go back to that moment just now.
So when I said life can be intense, but you got to take life, ease off the gas. Mm-hmm. And not take things so serious. And so I like to surround myself around people with a sense of humor, much more playful, because they keep me relaxed. They keep me at ease. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's very important to really take it easy and just laugh every now and then. I wrap that into the brand's mission, vision, strategy, priority. The big joker is in the middle, and that is the trump card. The biggest card in the deck is the big joker. Mm-hmm. Anybody who's ever played spades they should know what I'm talking about. So the big joker, that disrupts everything. Because guess what? The next king, the king of clubs, that's all about music, sound quality, event planning, and making sure everybody's having a good time. Mm-hmm. The king of spades is a bit too serious.
Yes.
And what did the big joker say? What does the joker say in Batman? Why is so serious? So I literally wrap that into my storytelling for the brand because I know I can be serious. I know I can be intense.
Yeah.
But my goal ultimately is to have so much fun that all I'm doing is laughing and carrying on with family and friends around the world.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the King of Spades, like I said, he can be serious because he owns an Encyclopedia Britannica. He has a palace, baby, and he can sit back and he can ride in the backseat of his Rolls Royce. Mm-hmm. But he's serious.
Yeah.
He's got to figure it out.
Yeah. But see, going back to what you said originally, going back to life can be really stressful and whatnot. But one thing that I see you do constantly is how you begin your process. And it starts in the morning with gratitude. Mm-hmm. And a lot of what I see you do is gratitude to other people, to yourself, to the brand, to just just in conversation that we have with other people. It always starts with gratitude. There's always like, thank you so much for this. Thank you so much for that. Like I'm seeing the gratitude, and he'll sit there and actually go deeper into that. So talk about gratitude.
Like I like to acknowledge the positive in people and their personalities, and also like our relationship, whatever it is that we are doing. I like to acknowledge that. I appreciate what you're doing and helping me. And I usually show that in different ways. Again, that's the reason why the love languages are incorporated into my brand too. So acts of service, acts of kindness, words of affirmation. I think acknowledging what you appreciate about people, what you love about a person, people need to hear that, and people don't hear it enough, to be quite frank. So every time I'm having a conversation on the show, off camera, hanging out, talking just to talk, I like to acknowledge what I enjoy or love about a person before we even get into the weeds of whatever we're doing, because it lightens the mood. It makes people feel good. And then you realize, oh, you got that person sticking their shoulders back and chest out a little bit.
Yeah.
Then that confidence is there. And then it makes me feel good because I'm around people with confidence. And that's the key. You are a product of your own environment.
And that ties me into my next question. I'm going to read it right off of here real quick. Do you have any daily rituals or habits that you believe contribute to your success?
Yes. I do this, and I've been doing it very consistently for a couple months. Gratitude is one, but I started to meditate. And meditate, that's a word, fancy word, whatever you want to call it. But really, if you water it down, meditating is really just being quiet enough until your thoughts are not so busy. So what I do, my daily practice, I literally light a candle or two or three. Sometimes I might, depending on what comes to mind as soon as I'm reaching down to get my tea lights, because I light tea lights in front of me on my coffee table that has love inside of it. It's a glass coffee table. And I light my candles and I sit down Indian style in front of it. And I literally just silence my mind. And just every time my mind goes anywhere, I bring myself back to the present moment. And here, the in between, there's silence and there's this in between. And once you get to that place where you're not listening to your thoughts anymore, you're just in the present moment. It is so comfortable and relaxing. So that's my daily ritual. I spend about 30 minutes to an hour doing that before I do anything else, because I've noticed a consistent theme. If I jump the gun and get into anything before doing my meditation or clearing my mind, I'm anxious. I'm all over the place. I'm unorganized. I might get into a little disagreement or argument with somebody. It's because I did not balance myself. I did not ground myself in the beginning of the day. So did that answer your question?
That's some really good advice right there,
yeah.
folks. And you can apply this to just about anything. That's what I love about it.
Before you go on stage, before you go to work, you don't have to be in any specific place. But if you build a ritual and you have an energy around a specific spot in your house, you could be in the car before you go into work. Shut up, look at the trees, look at that butterfly flying over your car, and get yourself together. And then you start to ground yourself, and then you can go and you can attack the day.
Butterflies and bees on mine.
Oh, I know, right?
And we'll get into that too.
Yeah.
If you guys are paying attention to the subtle hints in some of the different things that we talk about, just to talk, we mentioned animals in the animal kingdom, and there's significance to that. And we'll continue to tell you those subtle hints. So pay attention to the animals, because they're significant to this podcast.
Absolutely. To the brand.
Everything that we're doing right now has a lot to do with the animal kingdom and just kingdom principles in general.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this question here. This is a really good one. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I've been ready for 2 years.
Let's go. Pause for dramatic effect. So what's a dream project or collaboration you'd love to see come to fruition?
I would love the House of King Ferdinand to collaborate with Adidas and create a product or a line of products. Just like my favorite collaboration I've ever seen before in my life was with Gucci and Adidas. I don't know if you've ever seen it before.
No.
But you owe it to yourself to watch the runway show, and I'll show it to you behind the scenes. Okay. But it is captivating. It is so beautiful. And it is not because Beyonce is part of it, because I love B. Shout out.
Yeah.
But I've always worn. I'm wearing Adidas right now, custom made shoes.
Yeah.
But I love Adidas. There's a quality, there's a consistency. I love that brand. And Gucci, I love what they represent. I love the history behind it. And those two companies, those two brands came together and made a collaboration. And it was something I've never seen before in my
I'll have
life.
to check that out, actually. Yeah. That's more research for me. Me personally, I love Lululemon. Like I wear Lululemon all the time. Nike is another brand that I wear, like Nike pants. And stuff like that. And then of course I wear King Ferdinand. So I've got that right here as well.
Yeah.
But like the sky's the limit, but like I would love to see that come Adidas and
King Ferdinand.
And King Ferdinand.
Yeah, collaboration. So, making clothes, making backpacks, shoes that's custom with the King Ferdinand logo on the back of it. I would love to collaborate with Adidas and have that across the globe.
Yeah.
A limited edition, and we come out with a new collection. It's like an ongoing collaboration opportunity. Something like that.
Backpacks, I like Nordic. Like that's a really fun brand, especially for what I do, cinematography and things like that.
Okay.
That's a collaboration I like to see happen.
Okay.
Is Nordic the brand? I mean, the wallet that I gave you, that's Nordic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They're really good at doing storage, like customizing storage inside of these bags, wallets, all kinds of things. It's just super smooth, everything that they do across the line. And I think the brand of King Ferdinand and a bag from Nordic, even if it's just a limited time series or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really powerful thing to see.
Absolutely.
Down the road here.
So that's a dream.
That's a dream. That's a good dream right there.
Another thing I'll put out into the universe, you and I've talked about this, but having the Podcommunity coming to life and having 13 seasons, 13 episodes per season. And it's storytelling, starting with my own life's journey and the people that I'm connected to, the animal kingdom, telling their stories, and then expanding that out over time, 13 seasons, and telling the stories across the world about creative people, entrepreneurs who are starting from the ground and know what it takes to build something up. Mm-hmm. That would be another dream that I would have. And it takes a serious amount of collaboration to achieve that.
Now, here's a quiz for you guys watching right now. What is the number that is constantly being used here, like when we're describing things that are happening within the show? Are you ready? For those of you who said 13, you're correct. So 13 seasons. Sorry, 13 episodes, not seasons. We don't know how many seasons we're going to have. That's unlimited number of seasons. But we got 13 episodes for this first season. We started on October 13th, which happened to be Friday the 13th, because it's October. Funtober. And there's just a lot of things going on right here. And there's actually 13 animals in the brand that we talk about. And let's talk about the animals real quick in the animal kingdom. But before we go into that, I want to ask you a question.
Elaborate on 13, the significance?
In just a moment.
Okay, go ahead.
Because we're going to go into that, okay? I want to ask you this fun little lighthearted question, okay? If you could have dinner with any 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be?
Nikola Tesla, Michael Jackson, and Beyonce.
And why?
Nikola Tesla, I mean, he tapped into something. And I'm tapping into that thing. And we all have access to that thing. But just being able to talk to someone that is connecting on a higher frequency.
13.
And, connecting and changing the game in so many different ways. That is interesting to me. Michael Jackson, of course, because of his talent and his ability to just bring everyone to tears with his, excellence and performance. And that's why I landed it with Beyonce, because I think she is kind of a reflection of the modern day talent of Michael Jackson and his impact.
She's the queen, man. She's the queen. Yeah. She is the undisputed queen.
Yes. Yeah. And, she keeps coming up in the show, and I would love to collaborate with her and the House of King Ferdinand designs, some pieces, some looks for her. Easy Baby would just melt to the ground if she was able to, manifest that opportunity.
Excellent. Now bring us back to the frequency of 13. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
13 animals.
Yeah. So 13 animals, but I'll before I go into the animal kingdom, it's very significant because the brand King Ferdinand, it's 13 letters if you count them. King Ferdinand, all one word, 13 letters. We could simplify it that way. But then when you go into my life story, I've worked for 13 different companies up until this point. And that's when I realized I'm an entrepreneur. It took me 13 companies to work for, and going through the motions and hitting these walls where I feel like I'm chewing gum that lost its flavor after a while. I don't know if you've ever chewed Bubblicious before, but you chew
that's
gum.
A throwback.
Yeah, I have to use that reference.
It's been years.
Most people would understand that. But chewing gum that lost its flavor after a while, I realized I was going through a pattern, because everything in the universe to me is patterns. And once you recognize the patterns, you can say, oh, I don't want that to happen anymore. So let me move out of the way just a little bit and then let that continue. So I realized after about 1.5 2 years is when the gum starts to lose its flavor.
Ooh.
And I did not understand why until this last company that I worked for, because you get put in this box and you have these limitations that you have to work within the lines. And I don't like to work within boundaries and limitations and all of that. So 13 different companies that I worked for throughout my career working for someone else. And I was an entrepreneur, made that decision. So 13 companies, but then there's 13 animals.
Yeah.
You wanted me to go ahead?
Continue.
So the 13 animals, and I'll tell you in the order. So it starts with the lion. That's the first one because I am born in August 20th, 1985. That's the reason why I see 85 all over the brand too. And then up next, you got the transformative butterfly. And that's when I started to really pay attention to my life. Back in 2019, that yellow butterfly showed up. And it's so silly and insignificant to most people. But it goes back to that, bringing yourself back into the present moment and realizing, oh, look at how beautiful this universe is. That butterfly showed up at the perfect time for me. And then the horse, I love Clydesdales. And, every king, the stage has to be set for a king. The horse and carriage has to be ready for the king. So I always love to blow a kiss at these animals because they're significant throughout my life. Then there's the honeybee. What do you hear whenever you're around honeybees? The humming sound, right? Yeah. So sound and audio, that's a big part of the brand storytelling. Yeah.
And it's also been scientifically proven that buzzing does something to your mind, to your body, to your frequency. And people who are actually beekeepers live a long time, and they show that they have less chances of having any kind of depression or anything like that because they get into that vibration.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot to discuss in that, even in that topic, which we'll get into eventually, but this is not the time nor the place. Yeah. But we're all these things are in line with that synchronicity of
they are
synchronicity of life, and you'll start to see that unfold throughout the show as well, hopefully.
Yeah. And they are connected to these kings too. So I'll just say 5 because there's 13 altogether, but 5. The 5th one is the eagle. That's the king of spades. And the reason why I incorporated the eagle is because one day I was on a trip in Nashville, and I'm telling you, I have footage of it right around the time when I was trying to figure out what my brand and what my show was going to be called. I thought about this. King Ferdinand, all one word. It flashed in my mind, and I immediately knew it was the truth. And after I made that decision is when I saw 2 eagles flying together in Nashville. And I was with a group of friends. We were hanging out at the pool, and they all saw it too. I was the only one who was able to capture that footage. To me, I felt like that was a divine kiss that the universe was blowing to me after I made my decision to call it King Ferdinand, all one word. So I'll just start with that. The 5 animals, it covers 13 altogether, but that's storytelling throughout the show and throughout the brand. But it starts with the lion, butterfly, horse, honeybee, and then the eagle that flies above and sees the big picture.
Yeah. And we'll pause on the animals.
Yeah.
Because we want to tell you more about the rest later on. So we'll bring you back into the story with that right there. We just wanted to give you a little bit of an insight as to why, synchronicity, frequencies, the numbers, why 13 episodes, why Friday the 13th on October. All these things are significant.
Yes.
In our planning process to bring this out to you. And we have so much content going back before I was even a part of the show.
Yes.
And we're putting it all together. And then in that frequency, when we were talking about that, it's like, look, there's an event coming into town. It was a lot of money. We didn't care about that. We both said, we're going. We're going to figure out how we're going to go. We're going to go.
This. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to happen. My birthday was in September. My girlfriend gave me $500 for my birthday. I love her so much. She's amazing. She's been my biggest supporter in everything that I decide to do.
Hey, true.
Hey, true. And so, she helped me out. She knew that I didn't have the money to pay for this thing right now. And she was like, okay, here you go. You can get me back later.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what? I was like, babe, I can't put this on you. She was like, no. I got you. And that's a true partner.
Yeah.
And that's a true partner. Somebody who's willing to be there and help you, not expecting anything, just saying, I've got your back. I'm here. We're partners. I'm going to help build you up. They say behind every good man, there's a good woman. And let me tell you, like, she is a good woman. Like, so much love to you, honey. I mean, right now, like, I don't think I tell you enough how much I love you and how much I really appreciate the things that you do. And I do. And this is me doing that right now, letting you know publicly that I love you and I appreciate everything that you do, because out of these things, and even without me knowing in synchronicity what's going to come out of it, we got to meet Official Detox Music.
Yes.
We got to meet Bradley. What's his name? Top Hat Trucker.
That's going to be his show.
That's going to be his show he's working on right now and producing. And he's a light sound audio engineer guy. Like that's what his channel was originally, was all about tech. And now he's pivoting to doing a podcast and even the Top Hat Trucker channel that he's going to be doing. Because he's a full-time truck driver, and he's going to turn that into a show on his channel on YouTube here before long.
I think that's very clever. So I don't know the basis of the show, but I mean, I could guess. He's going to be capturing footage everywhere
he goes. He's just recording the road and things that are going on. There's actually a few channels out. There's like one other channel, I think, really that competes with him on that, where they record. They have cameras on, like, built into the truck, all around 360 around the truck, and they're able to show all that on there. And he's built this technology to be able to have AI automatically connect with all of the cameras and show you everything around the truck. So you're seeing whatever the truck driver is seeing on the road, you're seeing it.
Now we're talking just to talk.
Yeah. And I think one of the things he's thinking about doing is maybe using AI to actually talk to him when somebody's talking on the chat, so he can hear it and just verbally acknowledge it. Not have to look at his phone, not have to look at another piece of technology, have AI totally just redesign and do this thing.
Wow.
So he can do it with his eyes focused on the road and not being on a device. Because, when you're on the road, your eyes have to be on the road at all times and stay focused on the road.
Even though there's a computer driving and controlling that truck, you still have to be fully present.
Yeah. So there's all that going on into what he's doing. And I think he actually controls the truck. I don't know if he's using AI on that truck or not.
No, most trucks
have.
They're not driving it all the
not anymore.
The long hauls.
Not anymore.
They're programming it and just paying attention.
And so they just got to make sure to hit the brake when it's needed if AI doesn't catch it.
Yeah, that's scary to think about.
Yeah. So he's doing all those things. But the good thing is, once he has all this configured correctly, he'll be able to take you guys on the open road on these long journeys, and you can just log in and watch the content. He'll fall back and edit some of the good content, all the things that he sees people do on the road that they shouldn't do when they like jump in front of your truck and things like that. Yeah. And I mean, I've driven with truck drivers. I haven't driven the truck, but what I can say is when I work with Tiger Crew with Ringling Brothers Circus, I have been in the vehicle with the semi drivers when we're going on a long stretch. So if we're going from the East Coast to the West Coast, like we're going to California or something, I'll get on one of the trucks with one of the truck drivers and just, be co-pilot, and make sure that everything's going smooth. And we have a whole crew of like 5 or 6 people on Tiger Crew, and we would, all kind of spread apart unless we had a truck that we had to transport. And that's how we did it, So I've seen firsthand what these drivers have to go through. Like truck drivers are what keep America moving.
Oh, It's so true.
They are the lifeblood of our economy.
That is so true.
You know, like the things that they have to put up with, the long hauls away from their family, the time frame that they're out. I mean, we have drivers that worked with us full time, and like just they're out for months or the entire year, you know, just on the road. And then they have winter quarters, because we have something called winter quarters on the show, which is less like 2 months where we're resetting, we're fixing everything. The animals get to just hang out. You know, it's like we have the best weather. We go to Florida, we're there in the summer. The animals get to hang out, and it was just a lot of stuff. Now the animals are no longer in the show, but
okay, yeah. We are talking just to talk with King Ferdinand, and we were talking about you going to VidSummit, and you meeting this guy Brad, and being a trucker, and now you're talking about the circus,
and he's coming into the show,
and he's going to be on the show,
and so all these things, like the past, present, future, all the different things that we're talking about. We never know where we're going to go with the show. Like we have no idea.
And I left it open-ended like that. I wanted to leave it open-ended like that, which I love. And by the way, the DJ who I went to his show last week, and he's calling it the Mix Show for a reason, because he wanted to mix it up. And I love that. Okay. So he's leaving himself open to any kind of music, any kind of guest to come on the show to promote their product or brand, like me, talking just to talk. And so I'll be there again on Saturday.
Can I get a ooh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't realize I did that. You probably have to add that in.
Oh, man, that's great.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's going to be on a t-shirt. Yeah, I'm working on the shirt right now. So
what's my facial expression whenever I say that?
You'll have to wait and find out.
Okay. You'll have to tune in for another episode of Talking Just to Talk with King Ferdinand.
Absolutely. And welcome to Talking Just to Talk. I do want to wrap it up with a question. And then I want you to bring us home.
Okay.
Let me go here.
That was good. Good questions. And I love the element of surprise. I'm always ready to answer any question, even from a live studio audience.
Are you ready?
I am.
Pause for dramatic effect. If there's a piece of advice you wish you'd received earlier in your career, what would it be? Or sorry, let me rephrase that. Is there a piece of advice that you wish you received earlier in your career?
Yes. To slow down. And I'm glad I'm realizing it now at 38 and at this point in my career, because I am at the very beginning stages of being a very successful host and a very successful brand called the House of King Ferdinand. Very beginning stages. But I will say this, I have been trying to do way too much all myself and all too soon in a compacted period of time. So the advice that I wish I would have received, and some people probably said it in bits and pieces, but enjoy the process. The creative process of building a brand and a show is equally enjoyable. So that is the advice that I probably should have taken seriously, but I don't believe in regret or looking in the past. But slowing down, enjoying the creative process, enjoying the moment of everything that happened today, leading up to this content that we're creating right now together as partners. That is the advice that I want to share with everybody else who's out there trying to create something new. Ignore the noise, but enjoy the process. Actually enjoy the process and be proud of yourself, because not everybody is cut from this cloth of entrepreneurship. So yeah, that's what I would say. Have fun with it. Have fun, because that's what I'm setting myself up in this brand, to enjoy life till its fullest. Yeah, I want the yacht with King Ferdinand on the side of it. I want the logo at the top spinning around. I want all of that, baby. All of it. You hear me?
It's coming. It's coming. Yeah. So there you have it, folks. This is has been King Ferdinand and Victor, aka OG Tiger Man, talking just to talk. Bring us home.
Woo! Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Another episode of Talking Just to Talk with King Ferdinand. I just want to remind everybody, our first episode came out on October 13th, Friday the 13th. And it's called Miami Steve, about a very successful filmmaker and entrepreneur just like myself. Check it out. Please like and subscribe the channel and support us, baby. We're just getting things kicked off. And so this episode, baby, this was just us talking just to talk and connecting. This is my executive producer, Victor OG Tiger Man. And I'm excited. This is about curiosity, creativity, and collaboration. The show is about the art of conversation. Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you on the next one.
Mwah. And scene. Cut. Now we can really talk, baby. Now we can really talk just to talk.
We killed it. I can't wait to see that playback.
I know.
That was good.
All right.